Grace Off the Stage is a podcast where we will be hearing remarkable stories of the faithfulness of God in the everyday lives of people just like you. We hope that you'll listen in, celebrate with us, and share the podcast with your family and friends. And our prayer is that as you hear these stories, they will remind you of the faithfulness of God in your life and continue to strengthen your trust in Him. We're so glad that you joined us for Season 1 of Grace Off the Stage.
At a party, I ended up taking a friend's life.
And I said, honey, somebody is in the house.
He was just whispering like, Caitlin, like, I love you. I care about you.
I realized right then I need to take all of that energy, everything that I gave to myself, and give it to God.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in again to our next episode of Grace Off the Stage. I'm Dustin, I'm one of the pastors at Grace in Sebring, and I'm excited about the guest that we have today because not only is he a friend of our pastoral staff here at Grace, but he's a young husband, a young father, a young man who's pursuing a Major League Baseball career. Not only has he been in several organizations throughout baseball, but he also in the off-season, he's a pitching coach at Weber University. And in his off-season time has even been known to volunteer in our children's ministry from time to time, which is always a big hit to have a pro baseball player on campus. But I'm so glad to have you on our podcast today, Tyler Pike.
Oh, yeah. What's going on? Glad to be here.
Tyler, you have had quite a journey. I mean, we were just talking before we hit record, man. It's 11 years. You've been on this
11.
journey since high school. Take us on the quick, give us the quick snapshot, man. Take us along the journey of the last 11 years of baseball starting in high school. I remember hearing about you pitching in high school. I think I might even have saw you thrown against Sebring one time. But, man, take us from high school to now in this baseball journey.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, year 11, it's been a while. It's been a fun ride, but it started back in 2012, graduated from Winter Haven High School, got drafted out of Winter Haven by the Seattle Mariners, and we spent about 6 years with them, 5 or 6 years. I can't really remember.
What round were you drafted?
Third round.
Third round. I knew it was high.
Yeah.
Man, they wanted you.
Yeah. We'll take it. So, yeah, 5 or 6 years with them, just in the minor league system, got up to AA. Then back in 2016, got traded over to the Atlanta Braves for some local Polk County guys. It was a pretty cool deal. And then
that's kind of when I feel like I met you. I remember when you and Gina first started getting consistent at Grace. You were with the Braves at the time, which I'm a lifetime Braves fan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can rattle off every Braves player and statistic from the 90s, man. That was like my life. So I was just kind of fanboying you, man.
Oh, yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was only 2 years, but all in the minor leagues as well, but it was a good time. That was probably one of my favorite systems I got to play with. Just the group of guys and the coaching staff, the way they treated me was really fun. And
we'll get to this here in just a minute, but it seemed like God really started doing a lot of work in your life when you were with the Braves.
I would say this first and second, probably maybe the second year was when it got really fight or flight mode kind of thing with God pulling on my heart. So that was
all right, man.
That was when it was going.
We'll circle back around to that because
sure.
That'll definitely be a big part of our conversation. But anyways, with the Braves, keep going.
2 years with the Braves. After that, a minor league contract is 7 years. If you don't make the big leagues by then or a 40-man roster, that's when your contract will expire. And we'll go back into that. But 18 was a really tough year for me. Didn't get any looks for any other team, so we opted to go to an independent ball route, which is professional baseball, just not affiliated with any major league teams.
Yeah.
So we did that for about 2.5 years, and that's where I really saw like my fruits and stuff that I've been really working on and just like trying to like pull back from this worldly life that I've been chasing for a long time, kind of like take its back seat, and I really started to see myself just kind of free up through indie ball, which is what I needed.
You mean just like spiritually, emotionally? What do you mean?
Physically,
like being free
emotionally, everything.
Okay, all right.
Like I said,
I could tell a difference.
Yeah.
And you just kind of, texting from afar, talking on the phone every now and then. Indie ball, I think a lot of guys probably feels like a death sentence, but you actually found kind of new life in indie ball.
That was my initial thought, death sentence. I was kind of like, I don't want to stop playing.
A lot of guys probably feel that way.
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to stop playing. I think I still got some in the tank, so we'll keep on shooting for it. And then flash back to May 2021, got a call from the Cardinals, and they're like, hey, man, we like what you're doing. We want you to come into the system, help us out a little bit. And I was a really good season last year with them, getting back into the groove of things and affiliated baseball. And then pitched well enough to where they signed me back to a contract back in October for a year.
Yeah.
So head out to spring training in a couple weeks, and we'll see what this year has in store for
Man,
us.
that's awesome. Yeah, so by the time folks get to listen to this podcast, we will know the result of how spring training went, man. So we're definitely hopeful. I know our pastoral team obviously cheers from afar. Like I download the apps and I pay the monthly fee to watch you play indie ball, and now I've still got my app. If you want to watch minor league baseball, folks, the app that we use to do that is called MILB First Pitch. Yep. Is that the one?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, I've got it sitting here on my phone, man. So if I'm hoping you end up major league ball, then I'm going to just watch you on my Xfinity.
There we go.
But if minor league ends up being next or whatever, man, we'll be watching. But man, you've had quite a baseball journey, and obviously that's been a common thread in what's been happening in your life. But man, you got married along the way. You've had a couple of kids along the way. Man, how's your wife feel about the family life of a minor league baseball player?
You know, at first, that's why I'm here in Grace Bible, is because my wife, Gina, is from Sebring. So I got dragged down here back in 2015 after we got married. And, we haven't turned back. And, now we call Highlands County our home. But she's a trooper. She's always been like an adventurous spirit anyway, so she really likes the lifestyle that it is. It's constant travel.
I imagine my guess is that's probably not common.
Not at all.
Now, maybe for like really young wives or young girlfriends of pro ball players, like there's an excitement. But I mean, Gina's a wife and a mother.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have been together, 7 years?
Yep, coming up on 7.
And I mean, I think a lot of ladies probably would have ran out of fuel by now, but
I'd say 99%.
Gina's like your biggest fan.
Oh, she is for sure. She's everything going on, everything that we had happened to us, I wouldn't have got through it without her. That's for sure. And I'm super grateful and thankful for her. But like I said, she just loves this lifestyle. She likes to travel. She likes to. We don't know what we're going to be the next day sometimes, kind of thing. Where it's happened to where we've had to pack up everything in 12 hours to get on a plane and go somewhere else. But she loves that stuff.
Eats that up.
Obviously, with the kids, it makes it a little bit more challenging now. But she still loves it. I mean, she still pursues it with me. She still pushes me to do it. She doesn't want me to stop playing. So until she tells me to stop, or somebody else tells me to stop, I'm gonna keep on chasing it. But yeah, I couldn't do it without her. And then obviously having the kids is a little bit more extra motivation for sure. Yeah. I mean, we have a 5-year-old son and a 1.5-year-old daughter. And my son just ate up with it.
I'm sure he is. But even at 5, he can't possibly grasp how cool this really is. Him going to professional ballparks, watching his dad play is just a normal thing for him.
Oh yeah, and he's still at the, like you said, he still doesn't really grasp it. His attention span's very low still. But after the games, he gets to come in the clubhouse sometimes, gets to hang out with the players, run on the field and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
And he just loves it, and baseball is his thing right now, so he's playing t-ball, and I'm not putting any pressure on him or anything though, but he's got some shoes to fill. We'll see how he does.
Yeah, he does have some shoes to fill. But do you think he has the gene? Are you seeing
he's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. So we'll see what happens.
That's pretty cool, man. Gina's funny because I try to pay really close attention to when you're going to be pitching, and I'm always texting you trying to figure it out because I want to watch those games. And man, I'm always texting her back and forth during those games. It's like my closest place of being in the stands, or give me the play-by-play or let me know when the rain delay is going to be over or whatever. So it's been cool, man. She is an awesome woman. It's been cool to see as the Lord has been transforming your life. I know it's been happening in her life as well. And I know that she has been a part of that transformation in you. So
100%.
Man, it's cool how God uses marriage as a catalyst for transformation in our lives, man. And the same is true of somebody in the ministry like me or somebody in pro ball like you. God using our wives so much. Man, and getting to know you over these last handful of years or so, this whole journey hasn't just been about baseball.
Not at all.
As a matter of fact, when I met you in person and started to build a relationship with you, kind of to circle back to what we were hinting at earlier, man, you were with the Braves, and the Lord was laying hold of your heart and was gripping you, man. Give us a little, walk us down the journey of what was happening at that time in your life and what God was doing, kind of grabbing hold of you in the dugout.
Yeah, so flashback, I mean, I grew up in the church. My parents grew up, took us there every Sunday, Wednesday, everything, and then I got about to 9 years old, and we started playing travel baseball, and then that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday pretty much every weekend. So our church life pretty much just stopped right after that. And I didn't really get back to going to church till probably 2013, right after I first year playing professional baseball. And at that time, like from high school all the way up to like 2016, 2017, when the time period we were talking about, I mean, I had a belief in my heart. I mean, I knew Jesus was real, that he died for me and everything, but that was pretty much just as far as it went.
You're right.
There wasn't much going on besides that. And then obviously when Gina and I met, she deepened my faith a little bit more. And going up to 2017, my life had just revolved around baseball. It was baseball this, baseball that. It's all I've ever known. It's all I've ever been really, really good at. And obviously playing professional baseball, you think this is my job. Like, I have to succeed in everything I do kind of thing, just like anybody else would. And I could really feel back in like 2016, 2017, like just God gripping at my heart, man, saying, you know, this isn't what it's about. You know, you don't revolve around baseball, you know, stuff like that. And I would say back in beginning of 2018, I reached out to you about getting baptized, because that's kind of my next step I wanted to do to kind of push my journey along that way. And we went down to Lake Jackson.
Yes, sir. We were
right there.
One of our church family's backyard, the Bakers, who had 2 boys that pitched for Navy.
Yep, exactly.
So that was special for them too.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was kind of like that stepping stone. I'm like, all right, these things are getting on the right direction. I'm trying to transform my life and kind of let it revolve around Jesus now. And selfishly, like in the back of my mind and in my heart, it was kind of like, you know, this baptism is going to take me to a better place in baseball too.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, selfishly, like very in the back of my head, like I said, I felt like I was thinking about that for the wrong reason. And, you know, I couldn't have been more wrong that, like, you know, this baptism is going to get me. I'm going to go where I want to be in baseball. I'm going to get everything I need, everything I want. And flash forward to May when the season started, it was like 180 from what everything was going on. And as you know, back in the first day of the season in 2018, I was charting in the stands, and like one of my players came up and got me out of the stands. He's like, "Hey man, they need to see you in the clubhouse." And I didn't know what was going on. We're in like the 4th to 5th inning in this game. So I ran in there and I met Gina outside the clubhouse, and she had some tears in her eyes, and she's like, "I need you to just pray for a second before I sit you down and tell you what's going on." And I wasn't sure what was happening.
Yeah, man, that'd have been a crazy moment.
And she sat me down and she's like, "Hey, your mom passed away suddenly." And I was never really super, super close to my mom. I've always been a daddy's boy, baseball. My mom wasn't super athletic, so she didn't really get anything with baseball much, but it's still my mom and everything. So, I mean, it hit me pretty hard. I mean, I brought up emotions I never thought I really had in that instance. And, you know, from that moment, pretty much through the rest of the season, it was just like a spiral effect going down. I mean, I had some stuff that came up that I didn't even know I had inside me with her. Stuff I didn't want to talk about, stuff I didn't even really know I needed to talk about. And it went on out to the field with me. It got to the point where I was just like so in my head that I didn't know where I was throwing a baseball. It was like the one thing I've been good at my whole life was throwing a baseball, and I couldn't even do that. And like I said, the Braves were so good to me back then in that instance, because they could have easily just said, "Hey man, you're not worth our time. We'll send you on your way." But they really wanted me to get help. And they put me on this reserve list where I could really talk to a counselor, really kind of get my rhythm back and stuff. And I did. It took about 2-3 months, and I finally started to feel better about everything, getting some stuff off my chest. And towards the end of the 18 season, I got back in the mound. I was feeling pretty good, and then, you know, thought everything was going to be back normal, and I got hurt.
Yeah, I remember.
And it shut down the season again, and it was just kind of like, you know, what's next in this? Like, is this baseball even worth it anymore? Like, it was to the point where, like, I did not want to go to the field every day. I would wake up and I would like, I'd rather just stay home and just hang out with Stetson and Gina, and, you know, maybe we'll go to a park or something. It wasn't fun anymore, and it really hurt deep down inside, because, like I said, it's the only thing I've ever known.
Yeah, right.
So, and then, like I said, the Braves again, we had a really good group of guys on that team that we had a chapel group together. Probably about 4 guys, and then the lead chaplain for the big league team was our guy. He would come in like once a week, and we'd Zoom call and stuff and talk. And they kind of like brought to life some stuff that had been in me, some demons that just kind of were there, and I needed to get out of my system. And I learned finally to be like, baseball's not going to define you anymore, man. Like, Jesus isn't going to define me on whether I pitch a perfect game or give up 10 runs in one inning. It's not going to define who I am as a person or anything like that. And once I was really able to grasp that, I was like, it was just like a weight lifted off my shoulders once I really just bought into it. And by that time, it was too late. And I was waiting on a call from a team, never happened. And we get into that indie ball track where it was kind of like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm going to rot in indie ball. My career's going to end.
And I imagine that happens a lot.
It does.
With guys. I mean, the psychological deficit of demotion like that's got to be hard to come back from.
Oh, yeah. And it was all the way up in North Dakota at that, too.
Yeah, which is not the best place in the world to play baseball, even though it's a great city for baseball.
Great city, yeah. Great. I mean, that's one of our favorite places now that we've been there.
Yeah. But man, God had your ear and he had your heart.
He knew
so there was something bigger happening.
Yeah.
Man. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm driving up to North Dakota by myself from Sebring all the way to Fargo, North Dakota, and I get about to Atlanta, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, I miss my family. I want to go back and just be with them. And like in my head, I'm like, God, if you want me to turn around, make me turn around right now. Right on 75, I'll turn around. I promise I will. And, I've just never been one to really quit anything, and I made that promise to come up and play, and I was like, oh, we're going to see it through, and it was probably the best decision I've ever made in my life, I would say, besides asking my wife to marry me.
I think that was a good decision, too. She's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, it's just, I got up there, and it was just kind of like I was a new person again. Like, I was able to just, like, free myself up. I took that mindset of, like, I'm just going to have fun playing baseball again. I'm going to act like I'm 6 years old. I'm going to do what I want kind of thing on the field. I'm going to enjoy myself, smile. And if I give up a bunch of runs, so what? I get to come back tomorrow. I'll get to play catch again. I'll get to pitch in 5 days. And I took that mindset really, really serious. And I was like, I'm really going to instill myself to do this. And on top of that, I met some awesome dudes up there. I mean, our head coach was a faithful believer who, like, fed into us more than as a coach, but really as people as well. And I still, to this day, that was the most fun I've ever had playing baseball in 2019. And I don't think without indie ball, I would be sitting here right now or even still playing anymore because it was just that bad coming into it. But super grateful for that opportunity to come in there and just kind of just free up everything. Just
man, when I think about when you're telling that story, I just keep thinking in my mind about Psalm 23 when the Lord is our shepherd and I shall not want. And it uses this phrase. David says, and he makes me lie down in green pastures, almost as if I wasn't going to volunteer to do it.
Right.
Because I had an agenda, I had things I wanted to do, I had a plan. He says, no, sometimes the Lord makes us lie down in green pastures to restore our soul for his name's sake. Man, that's kind of been your story since indie ball. The Lord kind of made you lie down, but he's been doing, as we mentioned before, what oftentimes feels like a death sentence to a pro ball player was actually a fresh awakening of a life for you, not only as in baseball, but in the more important things, in your relationship with Christ and your own personal psychological and emotional health. Man, that's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And you end up nearly leading the league in strikeouts. Matter of fact, you led the league in strikeouts all year till the last game of the season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there on my app, getting ready to watch you play an indie game, and Gina texts or you text and say you just got a call to go back to minor league baseball, which is like, not unheard of, but definitely not common.
Not at all. I mean, it was more of a 2020 shut down the whole minor league season.
Oh, I imagine.
But we still got to play in indie ball, so it was huge for us. Like we pretty much all eyes were on us for a while. And like, I mean, I think that's the reason that I did get picked up, because coming into the season, the Cardinals had a bunch of guys get hurt, and especially at the AA level where I was at, and that's when they made the call like, hey, we need some help. You got some experience in AA. Come in and pitch for us.
Yeah,
I'm not going to turn that down, of course, but I feel like that's the reason I did get into it. But I mean, like you said, I felt like there was a plan all along with it, just to get where I am now. And
I think so, man. And we talk about oftentimes we talk about here that God has called us to be disciple makers everywhere we live, work, learn, and play. And I mean, nothing could be true of your story. Like, God has moved you around strategically, not only to make a disciple of you, but to make disciples through you. I mean, God used, of all people, the Atlanta Braves to begin to really make a disciple of you. And he took you to some green pastures to make you lie down for a while, use another ball coach to continue to nourish that relationship with the Lord and your trust in him. And then he called you back to another mission field. Here you are back spending a year with the Cardinals organization, and God's just changed your mission field, not just your city where you live, not just a team you play for, but a new mission field, man. Kind of as we wind out our time together in this discussion, man, how do you feel like the Lord is using your life to make disciples in the dugout and the locker room, even right now as a pro ball player?
Yeah, I think coming into that situation, like especially starting about 2020, Gina and I both had that mindset, like, you know, we don't know where we're going to be each season, sometimes each day, but we want wherever we're going to be is where we want our feet to be planted, like firmly, like, because we know that it's more than just baseball at this point. It's really like making baseball my mission field and the clubhouse my mission field. And even for her, it's making like people she meets in the stands.
I can only imagine the influence she has in the lives of other young wives, young baseball girlfriends. I imagine she's kind of a pillar of stability for them.
Even
and wisdom.
For me too.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure.
So yeah, we both agreed on like wherever we're gonna be, that's where we want our mission field to be.
Awesome,
so
man.
and she's like you said, like other wives, girlfriends. She really wants to dig into them when she can. And I remember having a conversation with you a couple years ago, just asking you about this situation, because that's when I first knew that like I wanted like baseball to be like, I didn't want it to be, but that was where we were at that situation, that was going to be where I needed to really put my feet down and get into some guys' lives. And I'm asking you like, hey, what's some tips you have for this? And like, what do I need to do? Like, how do I need to act? And something I tell a lot of guys these days that ask the same question to me about like making the clubhouse their mission field is, remember you looked me dead in the eye, you said, I don't know if you had heard it somewhere or if it came up out of your head, but
I'll take credit for it.
Go ahead and take credit, because I tell everybody
it
you
impacted you.
No, but you looked at me dead in the eye and you're like, you know, sometimes you need to make sure that you care about somebody's eternity more than your friendship with them.
Oh yeah.
So you put it in a better way that sounded way better than that, but the gist of it was like, do I really care about this guy's friendship? Like, do I care about my friendship with him more than where he'll spend eternity? Because, I mean, there's a lot of guys, when you come to those clubhouses, it's a raunchy place.
Yeah, man.
A lot of different backgrounds, a lot of guys that, like, just like me a long time ago, all they have on their mind is baseball.
Yeah.
And
well, we all have that fear with people we love and care about. It's like, man, if I start to speak to them about the things of the Lord, it could make our relationship awkward.
Yep.
And we oftentimes choose the friendship over the condition of that person's spiritual future. And like, man, I think as disciple makers, man, obviously we want to have a relational evangelism. We want to build relationships with people in order to lead them into growing relationship with Jesus. But there definitely comes a point, man, where we can't let that become an excuse of, well, I don't want to make our friendship awkward, man, because if we care about them deeply, we should care about those things the most.
Yeah, I think it was a biggest thing, like when I've kind of taken that mindset into certain conversations I've had with guys. I mean, most of them don't go great at first. It's kind of like, hey, man, I don't really
Most of mine don't either.
Yeah, I don't really want anything to do with that, but like they're always willing to listen for the most part. And I think getting that friendship first kind of helps, because, I mean, especially in the baseball realm of things, most guys, like, they're very laid back. Like, they'll have casual conversation, whatever they want to do, and like they'll listen to what you want to say, but they'll tune out what they don't want to hear as well. So I think it's just about sometimes planting that seed more than anything and kind of letting God water it and see what he wants to do with it, but always staying pretty persistent with it. So I've had multiple conversations with guys in the clubhouse, in the dugout, in the hotel rooms. And like I said, it doesn't always go great, but guys are always willing to listen. So I'm thankful for that. And, you know, just kind of keep pestering at them a little bit, little by little. So.
Well, I don't doubt for a second. I know that you and Gina aren't perfect. I know that you guys have your own struggles. I know that you're not always a perfect example of Jesus in the dugout, but I know for sure, man, that Jesus displays his life through both of you in the very unique environment he's given you guys. And I know that testimony just nourishes that soil for opportunity. And not everybody's going to lean in like you did in the Braves dugout. but there will be some.
Oh, yeah.
And God is going to do that work of preparing them, but also continuing to, like you said, watering that seed. And life transformation's His job. Seed planting is ours. And you guys are doing that, and I'm grateful.
Oh, yeah.
I love getting the opportunity to spend some time with you today, and thanks for joining us in our Grace Off the Stage podcast. And for all of you guys that have been tuning in, we're grateful that you've taken the time to listen to our conversation, and we look forward to getting to speak with you about what God is doing, extraordinary things in ordinary ways all throughout the Heartland.